All right. Usually I like to walk around, but I do have a lot to say this time, and I want to make sure that I stay a little bit on task, a little bit. So, we're going to talk, there we go. We're going to talk about a little bit of a lofty goal on how to improve federal IT. And guess what? It's going to take all of us, everybody in here. Do we have any feds in here? Can you raise your hand if you're a Fed? I'd like to know if there are Feds. Awesome. That's good to hear. Because that is we do this every day. And so we need to be able to make sure that we can partner with everybody to make sure that we move smoothly. So now when we talk about IT, there's all sorts, that's quite a broad scheme, right? A broad range. We have networking, we have the infrastructure, we have our data centers. We have the software development. We have figuring out what tools we should be using, what languages we should be using. We have service desk. There is a lot of components that go into this. And we're responsible for all of it in order to make sure that our departments, our agencies, and the federal government, the citizens, get what they need out of it. So let's take a little bit of a dive and get a picture of federal IT. How people see it. So here we have our slides. And here we have the investments of federal agencies on IT projects, and now that is 2014. But you can see it's from Brookings, and yes, for all of you, even in the cheap seats, those are B's and not M's after those. So those are billions. That's a lot of dollars. And then we have this GAO Accountability Office finding here, talking about a $7 billion decline over the past 7 years on DME. That means there's been an awful lot of operations and maintenance. I'm not really the uppity guy here, so if that's what you're looking for. So what might this be thinking? We have a bit of a problem. But we're the federal government, so nobody knows about it. Nobody pays any attention. Nobody sees it. It's not like it's highlighted, and there aren't any news channels running anything about this. I decided I'd stop a little early. So we have these issues that nobody knows about, with those massive amounts of money that nobody sees. And we have created these teams, these USDS teams, these AT&F teams, these technical SWAT teams that come in and solve the problems. That's great. They come in and they solve those technical problems. Unfortunately, the problems are still there, though. Once they've been deployed and they solve the problem and they leave, no, not the technical problems, they've resolved that. That's a good thing. But the problem that allowed it to happen in the first place, the management, the processes, all those pieces that allowed this to occur, that we needed this digital SWAT team to fly in and save the day. So that might make us feel a little, So we need to hire better. We need to get better people in the door. We need to get these technically savvy people in there that know what they're talking about, that are going to work with the contractors, that know the technologies, that can make things happen. So we start hiring. Let's talk about a new federal employee joining IT, or just joining the federal government. So they're working out there in corporate America. They're working out there in a software company. They're in college, finishing up their degree of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, yes, I'm going to join the federal government, serve my country, do federal IT. And they go into USA Jobs, and they put that in, and then eventually someday somebody gives them a call. They give them a call on their smartphone. That is essentially their life, their entire computer. Everything is in their pocket. They can do whatever the hell they want with this thing. They have their virtual assistants. They have tablets. They have smartwatches. They have virtual reality. Throw on their goggles. They're living in a completely different world. And they don't really use much email. Maybe they use a little bit of it just because, guess what, we still do. And we have some sort of method in which we converse with them. And they don't want to miss out. So they come on board. We get them on board. Yes, get in the door. You're going to be here. You're going to be part of the team. So we're going to issue them the latest and greatest government equipment. So we walk into their office, and they have their phone. And then they get their PC. Whoops. And they get a laptop. And they get their what is that? I don't even know if they still exist. And then we sit them down for training. Yes, that is a box television with a VCR. And I would love to say that I was joking. I'll get to a story about that later. So they come walking in, and then they see this archaic technology, and they're like, nope. So they start going on, trying to figure out, what the hell am I going to do now? Where am I going to go? Because I'm not going to hang out here. But you might be lucky. Maybe you have somehow got them to stay. And maybe they're in IT. And maybe you put them in charge of an IT project. Or you tie them in to work on an IT project. And it looks a little like this. Now that is a really nice picture of a really nice place. It sucks for IT. Don't do that. So then, this goes through their mind. I got to get out of here. We do not want to let ourselves fall victim to the comfort of complacency. And that may have been occurring due to look at the numbers that we looked at the beginning of this slide deck, the beginning of this conversation. Because guess what? There have been changes in IT. We need to stop letting everybody, all the business folks, think about us as the electrician, the guy who keeps the lights on. Not that that's not important, but is a completely different role. You heard about all the things that we have and we're responsible for at the beginning of this. We have the networks, the service desks, the software development, the releases, the infrastructure, telecommunications. I don't even think I mentioned that. There is a whole lot on our plate. And for everyone to think that, hey, guess what? You're the service desk, that everybody is the service desk, or oh, the internet is down. I broke the internet. There's a lot of changes, and it's our job as technologists, as IT specialists, as people in the IT industry to stay abreast of these, to realize what's going on in the world, see these agile, DevOps, continuous integration, continuous delivery, cloud, PaaS, IaaS, SaaS, open source solutions. You can't disagree with them if you don't know about them. It's hard to form an argument as to why you shouldn't be using it if you don't know how to use it and you haven't used it. But then we run into a bit of a problem because then we start hearing these buzzwords over and over and over again. And we get to the point where I don't think you really know what the word means. So let's talk about an optimal IT operation. So, here is, since we've been talking about software development, and I'm going to veer a little bit away from all the other components because that's kind of where we are, but it doesn't mean that this doesn't apply across the board. But let's talk about an agency. So we have an agency operation. Hopefully we have a decentralized version control system or a code repository where we're hosting and keeping our information. Then we have our developers, our really smart people that are in there coding and making our applications and our systems for us. And then we automate the hell out of everything. Why? Because we can, because it's easy, and because it allows us to do that. It makes life better for everybody. And then it makes its way out to its public cloud, where we have hosted our systems. So on an agency operation, we could run like this. Now let's take it a step higher. Let's talk department-wide. Now we have the same thing. Let's think of a department code repository, a department decentralized version control system. Whereas take the USDA, for example. We have 18 agencies in there. Yes, 18, really big. We employ a lot of people. We have a lot of systems. We have a lot of stuff. So we have 18 agencies, and then if you start adding in some offices and other random things, the number can grow all the way to 28. But if we have all of our code, so an HR system is an HR system is an HR system. A finance system is a finance system is a finance system. We can cut costs, make things faster, and provide solutions a hell of a lot quicker if we were to start looking at these code repositories, start forking these code bases and these systems between the different departments and agencies. Certainly reduces a lot. So, on an up note, the technology is easy. So the transformation should be easy, right? Everybody around here, there's a lot of technology people in here, so you can certainly talk to them, and you want to pair with them and work with them to get this technology in there. But the technology truly is the easy part. It's only going to do what you let it do. It's only going to do what you tell it to do. The hard part comes here. The people are not easy. Why are people not easy? Look at this big list. There's a whole lot of stuff on here, and we are our own worst enemy, creating more boards for more boards for more boards to make sure that we're managing risk and managing situations and everybody's getting their fingers in the pot and checking off on everything. And it's not just the staff, but it's the leadership and the management as well. So how do we get from here to there? We've heard this before. Start small, create a small win. I'm going to skip that because I'm pretty sure that's already been broken into plenty of times early this morning. But we need to start working with the people. Who are the people? All of the people. Everybody, all the stakeholders, all the executives, everybody internally and external to your organization, you need to run constant communication and share your vision with them. Tell them why you're changing, why we're changing, and how we're changing. Show them the benefits. You need to tell them. As someone who has led a transformation both on the corporate side and numerous times in different organizations in the government and the military, I can assure you that these are key components into making sure that this happens. And I'd like people to walk out of here knowing this so that they can start applying it to their organizations as well. When you share your vision, you'll find your champions. You'll see those people with the eyes light up, and they're going to say, wow, oh, that's a great idea. I can't wait to get involved. I can't wait to use these new technologies. I can't wait to do this. And you're going to have those people whose eyes go down. Be prepared for those people whose eyes go down and don't want to look at you. Because there might be some of this fear of change. They might just disagree with you wholeheartedly. But remember, it's your organization. You're going to be making the moves. You got to make sure that you're transparent and provide the transparency across the board. And you do this through continuous improvement and continuous learning, creating a culture in that fashion. Work with HR. Work with your HR team. A 2210 is not a 2210. They are not interchangeable positions. There are different factors within each one of them. A 2210, for those of you that aren't in the government, is the government IT specialist role. So a 2210 InfoSec is not a 2210 application developer, which is not a 2210 DBA, which is not a 2210 service desk person. You can't interchange these people. You can cross-train them in some components. Make sure you hire right and contract right. Goes back to that, do you really understand the words that you're saying? You might be saying DevOps, you might be saying Agile, you might be saying, yes, I can build a continuous integration pipeline, or I can build a continuous delivery and I can make this happen, but test them. Can they really do that? Make sure that we can empower employees. When I first got to an organization, I won't say which one, I had somebody come down with a data call. I had only been there a couple days. They asked me for this information. I didn't know where it was. I knew how to get it, so I sent it to the person to get it. That person is, this is of course an easy email forward. So I sent the email on, and that person replied with, can I speak to this person? If you have people scared to talk to other people, or if you've created a culture where people will not talk to each other, because the reason that question came, so I instantly picked up the phone and called that person. Why are you asking me this? And that was because that was the culture that was in there. They had created that culture. Then we find our tools. So FSIS, we're making big changes. We're making changes across the board. It's a very Microsoft-heavy world over there. USDA as a whole. We're starting to make some transitions, and we're entering into some Linux platforms and Linux systems and Linux some people might be familiar with around here. So we're starting down that path to make the change. But when we do this, you need to make sure you build your infrastructure. You need to build the infrastructure out there along with your changes, bringing in your coaches and your SMEs, pairing people up, pairing and working with industry. Get those people that know what they're doing and have done this, and get them involved in your organization to help make this change. Work them side by side and learn from them and learn from each other. And then, of course, one of your famous and favorite tools that everyone has to do, and what I say is my political pole dance, going around and making sure I get the funding. So I've got to get the money and tell people why I need it and what we need to do. Then you need to level set your organization, the whole organization. You know it's going to be a bumpy ride. Make sure they know it's going to be a bumpy ride. There will be points of frustration where you are unbelievably pissed. There are times when you will be annoyed, and there will be times of great excitement when you have actually completed the tasks and shown, wow, we can do this, and look what we're doing. But it will affect everybody. But you have to level set and let them know that this is going to be a part of it. This is what's going to happen. Doesn't mean that it won't get better. Innovation's happening within your organization. You'll see this when you're talking to people. I found this going around the organization. There are pockets within pockets within pockets that's already happening. Make sure you embrace it, encourage it, and support it. This is how we are able to start launching our virtual reality solutions inside of the organization. That was an organization that was already doing it, trying to make it happen in there. They just needed the boost. So I'll leave with this. We cannot become what we want by remaining where we are. I think we've proven successfully over the past many decades that changes are required and that we need to change, but we're not going to do it unless we all work together and do it. We need to embrace it, and we need to make it happen. At FSIS, we did do this. This is our vision and mission statement for the next 5 years, in which we just released, and we brought in the whole OCIO team and brought in the organization to help them understand that. When I got there, and it was a very waterfall and different organization. As you can see, just written right into the mission and vision, we're talking about embracing our agile methodologies, creating innovative solutions to revolutionize the organization. So, we need to learn from each other. And that's a challenge that I'm going to put forth to everybody in here, especially all the feds that are in here. We've heard a lot of great things happening this morning. You'll be hearing a lot of great things happening the rest of the day by some great people and some great teams within these organizations. Not all of it is what it showed at the very beginning of this slide deck. Talk to them. Everybody should learn from them, talk to them, and then set up meetings. This is the fun part, because everybody talks to them, everybody goes to the conference and hears, oh, look at these great things that they're doing. I want to do it here, and then it dies. Go and actually talk to these people and set up meetings with them. If they're doing something in your organization that you want to have happen, talk to them and set up a meeting later in their office or yours in order to make that happen. And when we do that, then we'll all be working as a team. And when we're all working as a team, as we all know, everything is awesome. And then we can all be pumped up.